Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Lexus RX500h F Sport. Huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this SUV for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. So this 500 is finished off in ultra white. Its MSRP is just over $73,000. And it's powered by a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo paired with that hybrid electric system along with a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it pumps out 366 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,700 pound SUV from 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds. Top speed is 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 27 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.2 inches. Its overall length is 192.5. It has a width of 75.6, a height of 67.3, and its ground clearance measures in at 8.1 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this RX500, let's start off with the upper section of the grille where you can tell it is body colored. So Lexuses are known for having that hourglass design for the grille, but you'll notice on this one, about halfway through that Lexus badge and up, there's actually a body filler panel just to give it a little bit more of a subtle look for the upper section. Kind of neat to see that. And then as you can tell with the edges, we have all the mesh as the divider between the paintwork there. Now the Lexus badge is also the forward sensor. There's a camera underneath that. There's also some parking sensors within that grille too. And then there's even more inlets on both sides, also housing the LED fog lights. So those are tucked away nicely. There's some brush trim in the lower section and then more gloss black to really give it a nice two-tone design with that white. Now this also has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with that triple beam design in the horizontal pattern and then the very crisp DRL. And then up top, there's two lines that come down the hood, wrapping around the entire front section of that hood there. So it blends it in very nicely, gives it a great look. Now for this model, this has the 21-inch wheels finished off in matte black with a multi-spoke design to them. There's the Lexus calipers that are finished off in black. This also has gloss black side mirrors with the turn signal and the camera. This has a full panoramic sunroof as well. All of the window trim is blacked out too. And there's very nice lines that run down the side. Everything has a nice flowing look to it. There's even the two-tone design for these door handles with the gloss black and the white. This model also has a lot of options to go over. We have the Mark Levinson audio, we have the convenience package, those wheels for the F Sport package, black calipers. We have a lot for this specific model. But coming back to the rest of it, you'll notice that the upper window trim goes all the way to the back, and then we have a little bit of a window right here with more gloss black flowing down that back rear fender. And then up top, this has the body colored spoiler with the third brake light. The wiper blade is tucked up underneath, which is nice to see. There's more gloss black trim accents to blend in with that rear window. And then this has a full LED bar that runs right through that power liftgate with the LED taillights, backup camera, all the sensors, even more of that same mesh in the corners of the bumper that matches up front. And this can even tow right around 3,500 pounds. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the one that I just pushed on. And this has a lot of space. As you can tell right now, there's also some tie-down hooks so you can secure any items that you'd like to. 3-prong is on one side. There's also a hook where you can put some groceries. And there's even controls to fold down these seats. So if I just push on this one button, they are automatic. So just by holding on that, you can actually just push it and let it go, and it will go all the way down to give you that much more interior space. So it's nice to see that you have that ability just to put in some larger items if you need to. And underneath the floor, there's the spare tire, and you could use this for a little bit more storage if you'd like to. You can lift up the rest of this, of course, to get that spare tire out. And there's also that cover that you can use as needed. So plenty full for the size of this. This is the larger size, or on the larger size for the Lexus lineup for their SUVs. Now, as we work our way to the interior, all Lexuses have a fixed door handle. So the door handle doesn't actually separate. You just use the button on the inside and it electronically releases to open the door. Now, for this F Sport, there's Alcantara wrapped around the Mark Levinson speaker all of the black leather and stitching. This is the release in order to exit. If the battery fails for whatever reason, you can pull this twice in this direction and you can manually release the door. A little bit more storage space down below too. And then we have the combination of leather and Alcantara for the seats. Very nice to see. And the controls on the side, you can use those to recline the seat. You can also use them to fold the seat completely flat from the second row. Now, once in at 5'10", I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. There's storage pockets. There's also climate adjustments. These are even heated and ventilated rear seats. You have temperatures and then auxiliaries right in the middle. And then in the center seat, if you pull down this, you have the armrest with some storage underneath it, and then you have 2 cup holders in the front section. Now, you can actually fold down this middle seat manually. So if you need to have a little bit higher of an armrest, or you need to put that down for extra items, you can quickly do that seat. And then while that is a pretty big pillar, you have the windows on both sides to give you that added visibility. So it's actually a really nice place to be for the back seat area. Now up front, we have the same design for the door panel, all of the window adjustments, side mirror controls, they're power folding, a lot more storage space located down below, and then a little bit more bolstering support along with the F Sport badge for these automatic front seats. It's a low SUV too, so it's very easy to enter. Well, let's fire this up and we can go over the rest of this information, where this has a perforated and solid leather steering wheel. F Sport badge is down below with some brushed aluminum. This also has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, so you can go through those gears. And then these are very interesting controls. On the right side, there's lane keeping assist and the cruise control. And then by hovering your finger on these, currently we have mode along with the following distance that you can operate, and then 2 blanks are on this right side. If I push on the square button, now we have displays that you can scroll through. So you can look at your meter display, you have your energy monitor, you can go into audio, navigation, there's a boost gauge, G-force meter, your gear position, as well as a blank page too. And you will actually see that in the gauge cluster itself. So if I scroll through all that information, you have the exact same thing, just with all that information actually shown down below. So it's nice that you can see it on both sections there. And then if I use the up and down arrows, that will actually adjust the height of the head-up display. So you can move that as needed. Now, as we work our way to the left side of the steering wheel, there's volume, and then we have the same controls. So if I hover my finger, it will actually show us on the head-up display what they are currently doing. So we have Bluetooth, voice commands, and then we have tuning for the audio. If I push on it one more time, now we have audio mode and it still retains tuning. And then you can also see what music is playing on the right side of that screen. So it's a very easy system to use. And then for the gauge cluster itself, temperatures on the left side, fuel levels on that right side. Now over on the left side, there's the fuel cap release along with the lift gate, a little bit of storage underneath that. There's all the memory seating controls, dimmer switches for the odometer and gauge cluster setup. There's 2 air vents there. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, we can go into the screen here where we have navigation on the upper left. So you can go through all of that info. There's radio along with phone when you have that paired. You also have a few different driving modes for the 500h. You have seating controls that you can go into to fold them down, driver assistance. Look at all this technology for this Lexus. Lane departure, safe exit, rear cross traffic, even the rear camera detection as well. You can turn all of that on and off. And then you have some other settings that you can scroll through as needed. And then some more personal settings just to customize this the way that you would like to. Now, if you've been able to tell, this is an entire screen all the way to the bottom. So everything is integrated in the lower section here for your heated and ventilated seats. You have your heated steering wheel, climate adjustments that you can quickly get into. You can even choose front or rear, so that way you can adjust those from the back. And you have some others that you can go into just depending on what you would like to see. Fan speed is underneath that. Temperature dials are on both sides. So when you turn that on, you have the temperature dials that you can quickly go through. There is a physical button for power and volume for the radio, and then defrosters and your mirrors too. Underneath that, this does have parallel parking assist. So it's currently unavailable right now since I'm not in the position to do that, but you do have that technology, as well as the view button too. So this is going to give you that 360 view to see what's around the entire vehicle, and then you can push on it again to shut that off. Underneath that, a little bit of storage with some auxiliaries, and then if I open up this tray, that allows you to view the wireless charging pad. You have some more storage, 12 volt, and some more auxiliaries that are hidden down below. 2 cup holders on that right side, and then to put this into reverse, that's how you do it. We have that backup camera with the top-down view now, and then if you push on these buttons, you can also change that angle, and you do have the guidelines as well. In order to put it into drive, it's the same, just in the opposite direction, and then if you pull it straight back in drive, that goes into the manual setting, allowing you to use those paddle shifters. Then you simply just push on P for park. There's traction control, auto hold, along with this Christmas tree logo. This is your off-road setting, basically, that you can push on. That will appear on the left side there. It's just going to help with the all-wheel drive system if you are taking this off the pavement. There's the e-brake too. And then for the center armrest, you can open this in 2 different directions. Gives you a lot of space to put in any items that you need to. Glove box also has a good amount of space. This also gets the digital rear view mirror. So you can use that if you need a little bit more visibility. There's a sunglass holder up top too. And then we have all the dome lights and the sunroof and sunshade adjustments for all of those controls. And then looking over the left and right shoulder, even with those pillars in the back, you can still see. You have enough visibility so that way you can minimize your blind spots. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Lexus RX500h, we actually had an RX350h for a week, and it was really cool to experience that as our first Lexus hybrid. So being in the 500 now, basically it just has a little bit bigger of a body, of course. It has more power to it, but essentially it's identical to the 350 we were in. So I drove that for 1 week straight, and I loved it. I thought it was a very cool hybrid to go with. We have pretty much a full tank. The range says 423. I'm sure there's been some miles driven on this one, but over 400 miles for the tank. This is a really good option to go with. Now, with that hybrid assistance system, it's basically going on in the background. Aside from putting it into eco mode, you really don't have any EV settings that you can do. There's nothing that you can do with the regenerative braking that this vehicle has. Again, it kind of just does it in the background. So if you're looking for a hybrid, you don't want it to be overcomplicated. Some of the full EVs, plug-in hybrids, have some buttons and other things that you can go into. But if you just want to get in it and drive it like a normal vehicle, you have the different driving modes, and then it's just going to assist in the background. I think it's really cool technology too, because if you're driving in slower speed situations or you're cruising out on the highway, it's going to kick in that hybrid assistance. So of course you can use less from the gas engine and you can use a lot more of the EV. But now let's put it into sport mode. It's not crazy loud. It's not going to be, since it is a hybrid, but it has plenty of power. It's not a performance-oriented vehicle, even though it is the F Sport. But we do get some cosmetics. We get a little bit different of a suspension setup too. So the F Sport does give it a lot of differences between a non-F Sport, of course. But there's no power increase or anything like that. But it still has, it has a good amount to get up and go. And now that we are just cruising, like I said, I had a lot of seat time behind the wheel of the 350. So this is honestly very identical. This is something that you can drive on long trips. It's so comfortable to drive, very well insulated, takes bumps like that with ease. It's just something that with Lexus, you're going to get refinement, you're going to get reliability, and you are going to get a vehicle that has all the tech that you want without going overboard. This is a $73,000 SUV. And one could argue that it doesn't quite have as much tech as some other brands, especially in that price range, but you are going to get a little bit easier of a user interface, and you're not paying for any of those extras, if you want to call it that. And with it in sport mode, second gear, here we go. Nice healthy acceleration for this SUV. And again, it's not loud. Brakes do a good job. And with the regenerative braking, you can use that to help further charge that battery system. So for this $73,000 Lexus hybrid, I think it's a great option to go with. It's not a plug-in hybrid, which would give you some more range. You can have strictly just the EV, but I think it's still great technology without being a plug-in. One less thing, again, you have to worry about if you need to charge it, things like that. Having it kind of in the background, I think is still extremely beneficial. And we have a smaller engine, but with the hybrid assistance, we have a lot of horsepower and torque. Over 400 pound-feet of torque from that 2.5 liter or 2.4 liter turbocharged engine with the hybrid is definitely some great numbers to see. But like I mentioned earlier, driving it, it's so comfortable, well refined, seats are in a good position. As cars pass, there's really no noise. This is something that you can rack up the miles on and be in a luxury brand like Lexus. Nothing's too overboard as far as the trim accents, a little bit more on that understated luxury side. There's no carbon fiber or anything like that. It's more subtle, but it still gives you the nice materials that you want. And as far as a quick UE, pretty tight turning radius there. And then back up to speed. Just like that. Camera system is going to be very helpful too, so I like the tech that's offered, and it's a nice place to be. So I think that is going to wrap it up for the 2024 Lexus RX500h F Sport. If you want to check out my review on the RX300 or the 350h F Sport, that link will be down in the description below. We had that for a week, so I have a little bit more to talk about with that vehicle, of course. But huge thanks to Hendrick Lexus Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Give the video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.